So as I said, taking steps to the greater good, and a bridge is the perfect metaphor for us. Physically, when you build a bridge, you build it over an obstacle or a challenge or something that's hard to cross. Spiritually, when we build a bridge, we are building a pathway, a way, as Janet, you were talking about, Reverend Janet, were talking about this morning, a way to get to that greater good. It's about opening our heart and mind, and as Emerson said, hitch your wagon, your earthly wagon, to a star. It's about making that connection that we know we're never, ever, ever alone. We're not on this journey by ourselves. We are here, and we are truly divinely guided all the time. We have a partner, a co-partner, a co-pilot, whatever you want to call it, on this journey that resides within us. That's our individualized piece of spirit. That's all ours. It's unique to us. And then there's a greater part of spirit that's always available to pull us into something more. So first we recognize the bridge we need to take is the spiritual bridge that our hearts and minds have to connect with that something greater. But then, how long ago did Lao Tzu say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step? Just one step, we start our journey. So you and I, if we're in the journey of on the spiritual bridge, we're going to be taking sacred steps, which means we set our mind and our heart we make an intention to set ourselves to something greater, something higher. We're conscious about it, and we know that spirit is ignited within us. That's what we do in order to get on this bridge. And let me tell you where it leads it. Ralph Waldo Emerson also said, the purpose of life is not to be happy. That doesn't feel very good. Well, just as a little caveat, Ernest Holmes said we are born to be happy. But Emerson was saying that's not our total goal. That will come because of all this. But he says it is to be useful. Our purpose is to be honorable. Our purpose is to be compassionate. Our purpose is to make some difference, that you have lived your life and lived it well. As Mother Teresa said, we all can't do great things, like all the people on our wall over there. We can't do great things, but we can do small things with great love. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here, for that reason alone, to ignite that love with us so we can forgive, we can heal, we can do what we need to do to be on that spiritual bridge of awakening, of finding the greater good. There is a personal God in each and every one of us, as I said, and this God within us can connect us to that creative power that's always there, that we're always at choice. Always. No matter where we've been, the mistakes we've made, the problems we've had, the whatever, we can choose something better and create a new beginning right now, this minute. Now when that song, oh my gosh, I still have the God bumps from that song. But anyway, troubled waters, we can feel them. They're the confusion, the chaos, the anger, the meanness, the judgment, the hatred, the negativity, all that. We're not to deny the troubled waters. We're not to deny it. Joseph Campbell, who talked about this hero's journey, said, in loving the spiritual, getting on that spiritual path, a spiritual bridge, does not mean you cannot despise the earthly. You cannot deny that there are troubles and stuff going on here. We just don't want to swim in that water. We don't want to swim in the troubled waters. We want to be on the bridge above that. We be aware of it, but do our part to do something better, do something greater. So awareness is the key right then and there. Jesus said, and I always wondered about this, a while ago I wondered, he said, you need to lose your life to find it. I don't think he meant, for sure, he did not mean we have to lose our life, but he meant you have to let go. You have to surrender all the things inside you gosh, there's a lot of them, that deny God, deny good, deny truth and love and all of that. We got to let go of things. We have to be continually shedding our skin, so to speak, that we can be fresh and new and available to something more. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here. You know, Joseph Campbell, when he talked about his hero's journey, and his hero's journey, if we think about it, is just leaving our habitual, ordinary lives that we're pretty comfortable with, doing the same thing, you know. That's not why we're here. We're here for the experience of life, pain and pleasure, all that. But we're here to live. And he said, inside all of us, and it's that, you know, that little God self in us that wants us to grow and become, there will be a call, an awakening, an urge in us to do something more, to get off the couch, to stop thinking the same thing or playing the same games, although I do like my little games I play, but, you know, do something different. And this call can come in many ways. It can be a serious illness. It can be a deep and painful loss. It can be a dream you have, like an awakening. It can be that little inner discomfort, that inner feeling that says, yeah, it's time to go, we gotta go. But it's there, it's always there. But it's our choice. We get to answer it or not. The problem is if we deny that feeling within us, that call to do something more, then there's a great possibility, almost a certainty, that we will live an unfulfilled life. Because that call within us is not to take us into problems, although problems will probably show up because we've got to face it all when we're on that journey. But it's to lead us into a greater fulfillment, a more fulfilling and wonderful and loving and compassionate life. Because Joseph Campbell also said the purpose of our journey is compassion. And number one, it starts with ourselves. We have to be compassionate enough to know that we are even more than we think we are. There's something in us that's even greater. It can be a mental thing, it can be an emotional thing, it can be a physical thing we need to do. It doesn't matter. It's not defined. It's just something in us that's calling us for something more. And so we don't get stagnated and crazy. So we have this built-in guidance system. And we must learn how to use it. We have two different ways we perceive life. I mean, there's a lot of ways we perceive life, but one is the way we see life, you know, our outer, with our external, how we see it. And we don't see life as it is. We see it as we are with all our conditioning, our judgments, our feelings, our beliefs, all of that. We see that. But then the inner perception is our intuition. And this is what Ernest Holmes says about intuition. He says, the highest faculty, I'll repeat that, the highest faculty in humans is intuition. When we develop it, it has to be developed. When we develop it, it is an instant knowing. Instant knowing. Intuition is spirit knowing itself. If you think about those times in your life when you have that instant knowing, the instant recognition of something that's right, without any logical thinking, without any planning, without anything else. It's just, whoa, you know when it is. You feel it. It's there. It's the right thing to do. Our intuition never leads us in a bad place. It always leads us to something better. It's that instant knowing, and it's supposed to be developed within us. We have to practice it. Our intuition comes from deep within us, and it's a feeling. It's not a hunch. Is this better or that better? My hunch is that. That's what I'm going to bet on. That's what it is. No, it's not that. It's that knowing that comes from within. Here's some of the things that Holmes says about it. Intuition is an interior awareness which all people have, but few people use. We may expand it by soul stretching, mind stretching, heart stretching, and that's when Kirk talked about the adventure in spirit as a time we want to be stretching ourselves into something more, an adventure in spirit. And that is going to lead us to hitch our wagon on a star. You know, in Joseph Campbell, in his book, Myths to Live By, he says, that's one thing he says, but the other thing he says, That's the call. We already did, that's your call right there. But in animals, it's called instinct. In humans, it's called intuition, an inner knowing that guides us to greater good. Now, in humans, it takes a little longer for us to develop our intuition, but Joseph Campbell goes on to tell a story about sea turtles. I know there's a few people who love turtles like I do, little turtles. But sea turtles will climb out of the water about 30 feet into the sand, and they lay their eggs in the sand. And a few days later, out come a multitude of little tiny, just born turtles, about the size of a nickel. And they already know what they should do and how they should do it. They know when they're just born, they need to push their little legs and run as fast as they can to that water, big waves and all. They know it. It's an inner knowing. It's their instinct that guides them. Well, our instinct can be pretty good too if we develop it. Of course, we're born more dependent, as dependent little babies, so we don't get to do that right in the beginning, but we can take it from nature. Take it from nature that there's something in us that wants to grow. I'm going to tell you something we believe. In 1927, when Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, wrote the Science of Mind textbook, I think it's 669 pages long, he included the Declaration of Principles. And they were 13 beliefs of what we believe in this certain philosophy, in this teaching. And they're quite lengthy and wordy and flowery and beautiful, but they can be honed down. And one of them, he says, is we believe that God is personal to all who feel the indwelling presence. It's there. It's our choice if we feel it or not. We have to work on that. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of humans, that anyone may become a revealer of truth who is in constant contact with the indwelling God. And that comes. We need an inner alignment with that thing that's greater than we are. And remember, the sacred steps we take there are intentional, conscious, and the spiritual knowing that there's something greater. We trust the invisible. It's that we get it through silence, through prayer, through contemplation, through meditation, through spiritual reading. There's so many ways to get that opening to something greater. I know I told you a few weeks ago that my practice right now is to go out in the morning right at sunrise. Alexa, when's sunrise today? 6:44. Set time for 6:44, and I go out and I just welcome the sun and just look for messages. Well, this week a little hummingbird has been coming to me every single day. And the first day I was pretty churned up just about stuff. And it said, everything's going to be okay. And he flew around and he has come every single day. This morning, it was 6:44. I go out there, there's no hummingbird. And I went, okay. Did you go on to help someone else? That's fine. Okay. Did your alarm clock go off late? Whatever. Okay. So I went out about 45 minutes later, and there was another hummingbird in the big, big tree out there, but a little bit tinier. And it was a little tiny one. And the little one didn't get as close as the bigger one got to me, but this one said, as it's second on all the flowers, nourish yourself. So that was my message for today, because, life wants us to know what we're going to do here. So Joseph Campbell said, on this journey, the whole thing is to follow your bliss. What is bliss? Bliss is the inner joy. And it reminded me of Jean Houston. I went to her mystery school for many years. And she would always say, we need a quantum partner with us all the time on our journey. And our quantum partner is something we love. If we love to cook or garden or do art or all these other things, whatever they are. And you make that your quantum partner, your inner chef, your inner artist, your inner teacher, whatever it is you love to do, and make that person with you all the time. So when you're facing something you don't want to do, like paying the bills or something, let your inner chef do it. So you bring your joy to it. Let your quantum partner do it. If you've got to clean the house and you're not really up for it today, let your inner artist do it. You know, so you're always bringing joy to what you're doing. Because once we start living a joyful life, that's when we return to that. What the return is like a renewed sense of life, where the grass is greener, the sun is brighter, people are more alive. It's a new sense of feeling, but we can't stop there. Then we have to bring our gift and share it. Whatever we learned on this journey, we have to give it away. Because a gift that isn't given isn't really a gift, is it? It's just something we keep. So we have to do that. We have to share who we are and what we do. And as our line is closing down now, I'm just going to invite all of you just in this moment to join me as I read a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. I think it's very appropriate for this day as we feel his presence on our wall. And he said, an individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of humanity. And so we know in this moment right now, that it is together we create a world of love and peace and goodness and creativity. We are doing it now. We make our own music, share our own light, express our own love, and make things brighter and better right here and now.